Once again, I'm Nancy Law. I'm your Chief Executive Officer. And I'm here to thanks for the woo. I'm here to talk about change, which is truly the only constant, a part of every life. There are inevitable changes, like aging. Even though we know certain things will happen, they still somehow manage to surprise us. Like, how did my baby girls grow practically overnight into extraordinarily competent engineers with families and businesses of their own? And how did I go from being mommy, who was trusted to know everything, to a person who seemed to know nothing and was deliberately trying to ruin their lives? Although fortunately, when they were teenagers, I realized after a while that my life was only 48 hours. So I only ruined lives for a short period of time, usually. And now to my current state, where they seem to feel like they need to look after mom. And one of their friends has said, "Your mom is so cute." I'm like, I'm a CEO. I don't want to be cute. Darn it, when did I start paying attention to advertisements for products to treat crepey skin? I didn't even know what crepey skin, but now I'm sort of like, oh my gosh, I do think that's what, so anyway. But then there are the changes we instigate in our own lives. A new job, a wedding, a vacation, changes we plan for. There's an old Yiddish expression, is Sue Klinger in the room? I was going to get her to help me with pronunciation. Okay, if I don't do this right, Sue, you can stand up and shout. It's man tracht und Gott lacht. It translates as man plans and God laughs. Whatever your spiritual beliefs, we all know life has its ups and downs. You know, that new job may not work out. The marriage that was so joyfully planned isn't always happily ever after. And that imagined week on a sunny beach turned out to include a hurricane. And then there is MG. Nobody plans to be diagnosed with Myasthenia gravis or any other serious chronic illness. In the memoir, Tuesdays with Maury, Mitch Albom recounts a series of conversations with his former professor who had been diagnosed with ALS. Maury tells his former student, everybody knows they're going to die, but nobody really believes it. Everybody, if we did, we would do things differently. Most of us walk around as if we're sleepwalking, doing things we automatically think we have to do. For me, that diagnosis of MG was the first real understanding of my own vulnerability and mortality. This was clearly more serious than crepey skin. There was relief, finally understanding the frustrating symptoms I had lived with so long, and anger that enlarged heart that seen on my x-ray 8 years before was in fact not my heart at all. Yay, Nancy, your heart is fine. Oh, Nancy, you have a tumor of your thymus. Really? Wait, what? What's a thymus? And fear, facing an uncertain future for myself and my family. But eventually there was acceptance. I was going to have to live with the change, whatever it was going to bring, whether I wanted to or not. And in time, I did begin to accept that. Of course there were and continue to be losses, but there have been gifts too, as Maury advised. Experiencing the world more fully was the first. Knowing that you have limitations and must make choices and set priorities eventually forces you to figure out what matters to you most, how you want to spend your life, and who you want in it. For me, one of those gifts has been becoming a leader in the MG community, opening my heart and my world to allow others with MG to enrich my life. It's you, the members of the MG community, who inspire me to use this unplanned and unwanted change in my life to make a difference in the world. That's the difference from accept the change, which is hard enough, to be the change, which is transformational. Notice that the theme of this conference is not hope for change. My cousin, a Presbyterian minister, had a story he liked to tell his congregation. It was about a man of faith who had gone out fishing and found his boat was taking on water. Before long, another fisherman came by, yelling, "Hey there, do you need help?" "No," said the man, "I have faith. God will provide." Over the next few hours, the boat continued to become more flooded. A sailboat came by, and then a motorboat with water skiers also stopped to offer assistance. But the man's answer was always the same: "No thanks, the good Lord will provide." Eventually, the skies got darker. Everyone went home. The rowboat sank, and the man drowned. When he got to the pearly gates, the man could not understand. "God, why didn't you save me?" And the Lord replied, "Hey, I sent 3 boats." Far be it from me to discourage anyone from having hope and faith. And of course, spiritual beliefs and prayer are a very important part of life for many and coping with change. But just as change is not a destination, hope is not a strategy. Change is a process. If we're going to achieve what we hope for, it's likely to take all of us and a lot of work. With a rare disease like myasthenia gravis, it means that those of us who have this disease, or who love someone who does, or who know about it because you work with people with myasthenia gravis, we're going to be the ones who work together and also actively seek help from others. We cannot wait for our boats just to float by, and for sure, we can't turn them away when they show up eager and willing to help. There is a place for every person who wants to do something about MG in this organization and in this community. I like to say that having MG is the worst way to meet the best people. And it is the combined efforts of these best people, many of whom are right here in this room right now today, that are transforming the world for those of us with MG. The late Christopher Reeve said, "I think a hero is an ordinary individual who finds strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles." If that's true, we're surrounded by a room full of heroes. If MG is the turbulent ocean that threatens our boat, it's those other boats, those other heroes who are going to come by and save us. It's the scientists who dedicate their lives to unlocking the secrets of myasthenia gravis, the clinicians who won't give up until the patient is on the best treatment for him or her, the nurses who become advocates and educators, the support group leaders and the telephone peer support volunteers who are there for that person newly diagnosed or struggling with MG symptoms, those who walk and raise funds, those who make a donation and move work forward, the true pioneers who participate in clinical trials. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had, including just today at lunch, with leaders from industry who are like, "We think we have something that works. We need to be able to know we can do a successful trial." The staff who work way more hours than they get paid for, those who tell their story to raise awareness, these are the heroes who are not hanging around just waiting for a boat to come by, or even worse, not grabbing a good boat when they see one. We are the agents of change. So here's the good news. Because of the work of our MG heroes, changes for the MG community are already on the fast track. But first, right now, today, people need access to the treatments known to work: IVIG, Plex, medications used off-label too. We have to be strong advocates for access to optimal care. 2017 was an amazing year where we saw the FDA approval of the first medication for myasthenia gravis since Mezzanine in 1955. How's that for a long gap? There are active phase 2 trials for at least 3 new agents. We eagerly await the results from rituximab trial. I was trying to see today if Mazen was smiling or frowning, but I couldn't tell. He's got a good poker face when he was talking about knowing the answers from that trial, but not quite being able to tell. But AAN next week, right? So we should know after that. In our own exhibit hall this meeting, there are 3 companies in phase 2 or moving to phase 3 trials who have never been at our national conference before, and none of these pathways are exactly the same, which is so amazing and wonderful to us because none of us are exactly the same. And one treatment is unlikely to solve myasthenia gravis. There are too many different mechanisms of action in our too many different bodies. So we need choices. You heard from Chip Howard and Linda Kushner talk about some of these exciting pathways, and from Pushpa, that $2.5 million from PCORI for MG research. I mean, how amazing is that? And I have to give these docs credit to Drs. Narayana Swamy and Sanders. They recruited their own boats, 20 sites with amazing investigators, all working together to better understand myasthenia gravis. What's exciting for me, we've been a small organization, but we do not think small, not anymore. MGFA has been a part of this project to move MG research and better lives forward from the very beginning, and your donations allowed us to support the first site meeting for this PCORI group, so we were thrilled to be a part of this. Finding better treatments continues to be a top priority. Some of you may remember that in my first presentation as CEO in 2016, I made an appeal to you that every person could help open pathways. Every single one of us with MG can help open pathways to new treatments by joining and participating in the MG patient registry. Just an hour to fill it out, and maybe another hour twice a year. We will not be able to see investments from industry in MG until companies know they can get the data that they need to manage clinical trials. And guess what? You guys did it. I'm going to tell you more about this tonight, but in 2 years' participation, the patient registry has more than doubled, and it's been an important factor in helping companies to get the information they need for successful trials. We have had multiple contracts with industry companies who are trying to figure out how they can best get a drug to market to help us. So if you haven't signed up, check out our table and you're not, even if you're not sure, check out the table at the exhibit hall. Roger and Celia will be eager to help you. That's what it means to be the change. As simple as taking action and doing something that can help yourself and others. Here's what I believe. We're at the beginning of a new era. Success leads to more success. I think a decade from now, treatment of myasthenia gravis will look entirely different. I know I said hope's not a strategy, but goal setting is. Wouldn't it be awesome if we could eliminate the word refractory from our MG glossary? Wouldn't it be so great if for the doctors and for people newly diagnosed to be able to determine from biomarkers which targeted MG therapy would be best for a particular patient, instead of trial and error, guesswork, a little more of this, try to lower the drug, a little less of that. With unprecedented interest and opportunity, we can't let these opportunities pass us by like boats in the ocean. We have to work together to ensure that we don't let promising research go unfunded, at the same time that we need to be there for every person needing support in living with the day-to-day challenges of this disease. Easy, huh? We need a lot of boats. We will have to ask ourselves, what will I do? How will I be the change? And with that, together, we will create a world without myasthenia gravis. Thank you.